Two guys in their early 50s with one dream: to achieve middle-aged sporting glory. This is the Missing Links Golf Show. Andy Walker, Pilgrims, we are back and we're here today to talk about nothing but golf, and more golf.
Well, it's like it's a golf podcast.
It is. You looked a bit worried there.
Because if it was
we're here to talk about nothing.
Yeah, if it was a tennis podcast, I mean, talking about golf probably wouldn't be that interesting. But what would be interesting, though, I think, if you're on a golf podcast, which we have coming up, is potentially a rugby league episode in the works, which I'm very, very excited about. So a little bit of bait there, Pilgrims. We've got a very special episode coming up next week.
We do. That is exciting. We won't say any more about it just now.
No,
but that is exciting. And a little bit going on in that world. But this week, we're not here to talk about other people playing rugby league, as interesting as that is. We are here to talk about both you and me playing golf.
I know. And isn't this like ironic that after virtually playing no golf, either of us, for the last couple of months, we've both had rounds of golf over the past week, which, is really, really good. I've got hope that maybe in the back end of 2025, there might be some golf played by both of us.
Things could turn around. And I think it may force us to pose the question, Andy Walker, of how much golf is too much golf.
It depends on what angle you're coming at it from.
I think we might get to that at some point during this episode. But Pilgrims, we are going to talk about a couple of rounds of golf. There's been three, in fact, if you include I played in an Ambrose event down in Bathurst about a week ago.
Would you really call that golf, though?
Well, this is the point, right?
I think that falls into the basket of hit and giggle more than golf.
Yeah. Of course it does. But it was a lot of fun. It was very cold. It was below zero when we teed off, and our goal actually early on in the round. So when we teed off, it was -1 Celsius.
Wow.
With a feels like temperature of -4.
Wow.
And our goal, standing on the first tee, was to get our score lower than the temperature as quickly as we possibly could.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah, which was good. And whilst we're not going to go through a breakdown of that round, the first hole is worth talking about because it was also very foggy, and you had visibility of about 160 meters roughly. And so the first hole, we're teeing off
it's where you need a bright fluoro golf ball, because hitting into a sort of a white haze of fog with a white golf ball isn't necessarily the easiest thing to see.
I actually can't hit yellow golf balls. That's a
confession.
Like it's something about it, just I really struggle with them. So anyway, I was using the traditional white Pro V1, and first tee, which was the 10th hole, we teed off the 10th. There's water on the left. It's a little bit of a long par 4, a bit of a dogleg around this lake that is right about the distance where your driver is going to land. Yep. So you want to keep it right of the lake. The other three guys two of the three in our 4-ball, our Ambrose team, our scramble team, 2 of them put it into the water.
Ooh.
I was also playing with Donnie from Bathurst, who fortunately got out his little pop gun and just popped it up short of the water.
Nice. So is that the one that goes down the highway towards the jail?
Yeah. The green is just short of the prison.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I decided, well, I better keep my drive right with the water and give us something in play. So I hit it up the right with a little draw, and I thought it was looking pretty good up the right side of the fairway. Little draw, so going slightly further right. But of course, 2/3 of the way down the ball flight, you lose visibility.
Yeah.
I go, well, I think it's up there somewhere. Anyway, it had hit a branch and dropped down just on the right edge of the fairway, but we were 195 meters to the green at this point, to the center of the green. Could not tell where the flag was on the green. And you just got to know from the shape of the trees on either side, that's about where the green is.
Yeah.
So whipped out the 5 wood.
Could you see if the group ahead was actually off the green.
Not completely at this point. So we were pretty confident that
Excellent.
they were,
Yeah.
um, but they're kind of out of visibility. So anyway, I pulled out the trusty 5 wood and laced one a little bit low, probably a groove low on the face, but it was
Mm.
straight, and that was
Yep.
good. So I thought, well, it'll be up there somewhere. But and 195, like 5 wood's probably a 200 meter ish club, so 220 yards club. But I hadn't quite flushed it, so I didn't think it would quite get there. So looking around just short of green. Pin was actually right at the back of the green, and as we got much closer, we realised that the ball was actually a couple of feet from the hole. So
Nice.
it was a little tap in birdie for us to go to -1, whilst
Mm.
the temperature was officially at -1.
Yeah.
Um, we did manage to get it to -4 for the round though, so that was pretty good
Yeah.
from the team. So that was
Do you,
nice.
do you do you feel like at any point during the round that you got out of jail?
Nice. We never got into jail. I think that was the point.
Excellent. Well, that's always a good thing.
Yeah. So anyway, that was the scramble, the Ambrose, the whatever you want to call it, the warm up, I suppose.
Mm.
And then we move into some proper golf. You played your local club competition last week, Andy Walker, and I think given that chronologically that's where everything begins, it's probably a good place to start. What do you reckon?
Yeah, yeah, and I did. So a couple of last Thursday, I played in the local comp in at my home club, and look, going into the round, and I think I did say this to you at the start that, or before we teed off, that I wasn't expecting too much. And I just wanted to go out there and just get back into the swing of things, be able to just enjoy being back out in the golf course and hopefully playing without being injured and getting around in a full round of golf. Because I've had a number of months off now. My last full round of golf was the New South Wales Senior Amateur Championship back in March. As we know, I did play those 5 holes when I injured my wrist and had to pull out. That was first week of April, and yeah, it's been a tough road. I have to admit. Was hanging to get back out in the golf course, but from expectations perspective, I didn't really expect too much. I don't think you really can. I've had a few hits in the high performance center. You know, I wouldn't say consistently, but just enough to maintain half a swing, but not really knowing where the ball's going either. I mean, as the Pilgrims know, I had the Garmin R10. And I did get rid of the Garmin R10 and I've now got the square, but I haven't actually set the square up. So all I've really been doing is hitting the ball into the net and it sort of feels okay, but you never really know where it's going until you actually get out in the golf course. So yeah, low expectations and just wanted to get out and have a game. Didn't put any Arcos, didn't want any Arcos data, so I didn't have the
Controversial.
scoring data up. Just wanted to go out there, no pressure, and just see what came of it.
It's interesting though that you talk about being in the high performance center and just hitting the ball into the net without actually knowing where the ball flight's going.
Mm,
Because Rory did a bit of that last off season to just
yep.
work on some swing mechanics without
Mm,
being, kind of held hostage to ball flight.
yes.
So there can be some benefits, but obviously, you're hitting them out of the club, out of the center of the club face, and therefore you believe that everything's landing straight on target. And we know that
Mm.
that's not
No,
necessarily the truth when we get out on the
no.
course.
No, no, and look, there is a benefit to it because I've done that quite a bit. I think we spoke about the fact that the Garmin R10, I didn't really feel like I could trust the full shot data. The pitching, from 100 meters in. Yeah, I didn't have too much of a drama with it. I thought that was useful, but certainly the full swing, and especially when we got up to the 3-4 irons and then into the driver and fairway. Yeah, I just didn't believe that was that accurate, so I stopped using the R10 in the end anyway, to just because I didn't feel it was useful. I was then more focused on form, and that's where the golf swing replay app really came into its own, and I was really focused on making sure that I was, my swing path was where I wanted to be, and making sure all my movements were were in line with where I want my swing to be. So
Mm,
that was more of a focus rather than any sort of shot data and any shot shape data that would have come from the R10. But I'm looking forward to what the Square launch monitor brings and just
mm.
seeing how good that device is, because I've now had that for a few weeks, but I just haven't had the chance to take it out and plug it in and charge it up and see how it goes.
Mm.
But anyway, back to my
I
round.
think yes, we might devote a future episode actually to a bit of a discussion around
Yeah,
Square
yeah,
and the high performance center. But here we are. It's the 26th of June.
yep,
You signed in for AT time
yep,
in the Kooindah Stableford,
yep,
teeing off on one, I believe.
mm, yep.
Uh, longish par five.
Longish par five.
Bit of a hazard up the left, some fairway
Yep.
bunkers up the right.
Well, there's Hazard up the left and Hazard up the right.
Well, that is true. Yeah. Hazard up the left, off all the way from the tee. Hazard up
Yeah,
the right
yeah,
kind of starts a bit further down, doesn't it? Or
yeah.
is that?
Oh no, it's all the
That's all the
way.
way.
Or, yeah, both sides of the fairway, and that's
Yeah.
look. It's called
So it's
Kooindah
an
Waters for a reason.
isn't that the truth?
Mm.
So it's a pretty easy driving hole to to
Well,
ease your way into the round.
I never take driver off that tee.
Mm,
So that's always a my three utility off the tee just to get it in play. I feel as though again the second shot into if I was going to try and hit the green in two, the second shot into the green is really tight as well and falls off quite dramatically both sides. So I sort of feel as though yeah, that going for the green in two and yeah, trying to launch it off the tee is not necessarily the play. So I always take my three utility off the tee. Just to make sure I sort of get off to a reasonable start. So I hit a bit of a leaky tee shot into the right rough. Then I generally hit a 4 or 5 iron sort of over the first fairway bunker and short of the green side bunkers. And this time I hit a 4 iron and just hit it straight right into the water.
oh,
Yeah, so my conservative play didn't quite work
didn't
out.
really work out. No.
No, no. So I took a drop, hit my next one into the bunker. So into the right green side bunker, splashed out, missed the putt for an easy opening seven a wipe. Welcome back
Yeah.
to golf, Andy Walker.
Yeah. And for those pilgrims that are out there not familiar with the Stableford scoring system, um, as a handicap golfer, you are allocated shots based on the index of the hole, which every hole's rated from 1 to 18. And so for Andy Walker playing off, I think probably a 3 on the
Yeah, I was playing
day,
off three. Yep.
you would get a shot on holes that are rated the hardest 3 holes on the course, so index 1,
Correct.
2, and 3.
Yeah.
Um, it would appear that the first hole is not rated one of
No.
the 3 hardest, because essentially what that means is when you get a shot, you obviously add that to the hole. So that would have become a par 6. Wasn't obviously in this case. So a 7 would have got you 1 point, but in this situation, a 7 gets you 0
Yeah.
points.
So
Yeah.
my shot holes are 9, 15, and 18. So they're the
Let's
three
see.
hardest holes.
We will keep an eye out for them.
Mm.
So 0 points after one hole. Andy
Yep.
Walker, it's not
No,
ideal.
not the ideal start.
No.
Second hole, I actually played second hole relatively solidly. Hit a nice little 9 iron onto the green and just a really an easy two putt for par. So that was three and 2 points. So
Nice.
I'm 2 points after two.
Cool.
Third hole's a bit of a. I'm not a huge fan of the third. Yeah, I hit a
No one,
three
neither am I.
fairway. Funny that it's not really a driver hole. It gets pretty tight
Yeah.
hitting driver with trees down the left, and then
In the
a
middle.
hazard on the right hand side. Well, with a driver, you should be able to. Well, you and I will be able to carry the trees in the middle of the fairway, or that are sort of they're not in the middle of the fairway, but they're sort of
They're on your line.
Yeah, they're on the line of driver, but they're not if you're hitting an iron off the tee. So I hit my three.
Pilgrims, they're in the middle of the fairway.
No, they're not. I hit my three utility off the tee, and I pulled it a little bit, which means it just caught the top of the tree and bounced down. And I was a little bit blocked out for my second. And with water right and sort of tree line down the left, and I had to hit a bit of a draw. I was just wanted to be a bit conservative because I didn't want to sort of push it right and end up in the hazard. So I pulled my next shot, my little punch shot, and it went through the trees. So I was fortunate not to hit a tree, but it went through the trees, and I ended up about 80 meters from the flag. And this was one of the shots where, you know how you haven't played for a while and you lose your feel, sort of lose that, especially with half shots.
Oh yeah,
When
I know this feeling.
when you're trying to maybe choke
Yeah,
down a little wedge and just hit
yeah,
half a wedge in,
yeah,
also playing it a little bit into the wind, so I wanted to take a little bit more club than what I wanted. Ended up that I just took way too much club and airmailed the green over the back, which then left me an almost impossible up and down. So I hit I left my first pitch short. So I was just on the fringe, pitched down to probably about 8 feet and missed that for a nice solid seven, a wipe.
yeah. Oh, 2 points after three holes. You're only four shots behind the pace.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fourth hole par three. Again, just a really good solid tee shot into the middle of the green. Had about sort of 30 feet from the flag, which I had actually a really quick putt, but I lagged it down there really nicely to about 2 feet and putted just sort of put that into the hole for an easy par, so 3-2 on five, which is a par five. Now, five is usually a birdie hole, so this is one where I do take driver and try and get it down the fairway as far as I can. However, on this occasion, my nice little snap hook came into
Oh no.
the four, and it just went straight left into the. Oh, it wasn't that far left; it was into the tree line, but I thought I'd find it, and I just got down there and couldn't find it. So it was in, I don't know where it went. We sort of looked for, the allocated 3 minutes. And then when the other guys went to look for their ball, I sort of looked around again for, had one last look, couldn't find it. Just went, you know what? I'm just going to walk to the next tee.
Yeah, he's playing. I mean, essentially at that point, you've got to go back and play three off the tee.
Yeah. Look, and I could have made birdie with my second ball and
Made a point.
made a point. But yeah, I just went, you know what? No, I'm not that bothered by it, so I'll just walk to the next tee.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if it's a stroke event, you don't have a choice. But on
Yeah,
beauty of Stableford for pace of play, Pilgrims,
correct.
you can make that call. So fair enough.
Yep. So on six, again another par three, hit a bit of an ordinary 9 iron onto the front of the green, and the sixth green is a bit of it's a two-level green, and the flag was on the bottom left side. So I hit a bit of a had a bit of an awkward putt just up to the peak of the tier and then sort of down to the flag. And I actually hit quite a good putt and ran it maybe 5-6 feet past,
Mm.
and then hit a really good solid second putt straight to the middle of the hole. Never looked like missing. So, I'd made three pars out of out of the first six holes,
Yeah,
but the issue was the other three holes I
yeah.
didn't.
No, but at least you weren't on the bogey train by any
Mm.
stretch at this point.
No,
So
no,
that's
and
a win.
consistency wasn't necessarily my strength at that stage during the round either.
Yeah, yeah. No, fair enough. So we move on to seven, par
Move
four,
on to
seven.
seven. Actually had a really good tee shot on seven, and it sort of drawing, and it ended up just in the left rough. And I had a bit of a little bit of a flyer lie, and I wasn't quite sure how it was going to come out. And I must admit, I didn't put that good a swing, that confident a swing on the shot, and sort of just pulled it a little bit, and it just sort of came out a little bit sort of hot and went long and left. And again, I was just in this sort of, longish rough, which made it difficult to get it out. And I hit a reasonable little pitch down to, maybe about 15 feet. And I hit my first putt 10 feet past.
Right.
Just, wanted a challenge from the second putt.
Mission
Um,
accomplished. Well played.
again, not necessarily my touch wasn't necessarily on point at this stage
Mhm.
of the round. However, I made the putt coming back, so it was just a good solid regulation two
Wow.
putt.
Yeah. Awesome. This is a good example of how the scorecard does not always tell the story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Um, Now on eight, and I must admit, I was a little bit disappointed with myself on eight because I usually against par five can't really go for the green in two because there's a big hazard short of the green, and I usually just hit either my three utility or a four fairway off the tee. Both my playing partners pulled out driver,
No, don't get talked into it.
and I sort of looked at it and went, "Yeah, you know what? I'm just out here for a game. I'm going to hit driver."
Stick
And
to the
I
plan.
immediately paid the price. I snap hooked it left into the trees. And as soon as I hit it, I just went, you know what? That's just silly, like silly
Yeah.
behavior. And I knew it straight away. And
Yeah.
probably subconsciously, even when I was playing the tee shot, I knew that I was deviating away from my
You
game
did. You
plan.
did. You did.
And, even though it was just a practice round and I was going out with no expectation, I still should have stuck to my game plan, and I didn't
Mm.
do that. So, paid the price there. I had a bit of an awkward lie where I was up against a tree, and I had to sort of widen my stance and sort of have my butt up against the tree, and I sort of scunged it out a little bit back onto the fairway. Had a
Is that a technical term? Scunged it out?
scunge, yeah, it
Yeah.
is, it is. Um, so I just ran out to probably, I think I was about 154 to the flag downwind. So I grabbed a 7 iron and just hit this leaky little 7 iron,
Mm.
which landed short of the green, which means it went into the hazard short of the green, which was a bit disappointing because I didn't feel as though the shot was that bad. It's just a 154 is probably a little bit more than what I'd hit my standard 7 iron. However, being downwind, I felt as though it was the right club. Uh, but the sort of shot that I hit, just a leaky little, and you know how you leak right. Well, as for you, you leak left just ends
Yeah.
up usually short and right or short and left,
Yep.
as it would be. So that's
Yep.
pretty much it. So it wasn't a horrendous shot, but it was bad enough where it ended up in the hazard.
Well,
So
there's
anyway,
no there's no real ifs or buts on that hole. Like you're either hitting the green or you're dead,
yeah,
pretty
yeah,
much.
exactly. But
Yep.
with and this is what I do with a three utility, I'll hit a three utility down the middle of the fairway. I'll hit a 5 or a 6 iron to maybe 50 or 60 meters short of the green, and I've still got I wouldn't say an easy, but a
It's a makeable wedge
regulation,
shot. Yeah.
yeah, wedge shot, with my
Yep.
54 or 58
Yep.
to the flag. Like it's if you strategically play it the way that, my game plan,
Mm.
stipulates that I should play it, it's usually a pretty easy par, or there's been a number of times I've actually made birdie
Mm.
on the hole. So
Yeah.
yeah, I was a little bit disappointed walking off. So to finish the hole off, I pitched a little bit past the flag, missed the putt, so ended up with another sort of double bogey or wipe on the scorecard, which again
Zero
was
points.
pretty disappointing to walk off like that, especially when I had completely deviated from my game plan.
Mm.
So anyway, on nine, now nine's a par four where the tee shot, there's fairway bunkers that sort of come across the fairway about 200 meters from the tee, and then you've got to hit across water to the green. I usually hit, depending on where the tees are, either a 4 iron or maybe a three hybrid. So I hit a 4 iron, and I hit it so bad, so fat, it went about 130 meters. It was just an awful shot. So I'm going to get up there, and I had a shot at the left side of the green, but there's sort of tree line down the right, and then when the trees end, it's all hazard to the green, and
How
it was
far out were you?
really I was about 200 out.
You're not
So
getting
I was actually looking at going, do I just
there. Lay
pitch
up.
down there,
Yep.
or I'm having a pretty ordinary round, so do I have a crack?
This is
What
a
what
hole you get a shot on.
yeah, what do you think I did?
You should have pitched down the fairway and give yourself a wedge in, be on for three,
Yeah,
um, make bogey for 2 points is what you
yeah,
should have done.
yeah.
What
It's
you
it's not
did
it's not what I did.
is you had a crack at it and you went and has it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know that shot at the Masters that John Rahm hit on the 16th, where he sort of stood at the 16th. He stood at the hazard and skipped it across the hazard
Oh
up onto
yeah,
the green,
yeah,
and it went into the
yeah,
hole,
yeah.
right? It sort of went about that high, skipped across the hazard, but didn't make it across the hazard.
Oh, wow. Such a bad decision.
So not only was my swing not in the best state, my decision making
Your
wasn't
brain was
necessarily
nowhere.
in peak performance either. So anyway, I took a drop, hit a pretty ordinary wedge shot, to be honest with you, just short of the green, pitched on, missed the putt, nice wipe. Again, this one was a triple bogey, and a nice wipe. So I've finished the front nine with 7 points.
That's awesome.
Is it
If my maths is anything to go by, I think you shot a 48.
12 over? Yeah, yep,
Yeah.
yeah. It was solid. Like
When was the last time you've done that?
I was pretty, and you know my thought process as I was walking off the ninth, I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm 12 over. What do I need to do to break 90?
Yeah.
That was quite
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
my thought process, and I needed to
Yeah.
have 5
Well, you
over or
need.
better
Yeah.
on the back nine
Yeah.
to break 90.
I know. But the thing is, right, you go in and you talked about this at the start. You go in going, I'm happy to be playing golf. I haven't played much lately. I'm coming back from injury. No expectations. Take it as it comes, full acceptance,
Hmm.
all that, which is perfect. And then you get to the end of the front nine, and now you've hopped into the time travel machine, and you're like,
Yeah,
oh, I
yeah,
need to break 90. I've got to break 90.
yeah,
I can't shoot in the 90s. Like
yeah,
all of this acceptance is out the window,
yeah,
and you start making deals with yourself about all
yeah,
sorts of things from a score
yeah.
perspective. So I think that's
But
that's fantastic.
But the thing is that I was pretty disappointed in the decision making over the last, on 8 and 9. And I think that was really the thing that kicked me into gear and going, that's just, it's not, yes, I was going out there without any expectation and full acceptance. And I wasn't mad I wasn't angry at myself. I was more disappointed with myself that I'd just gone in there with,
That's
and,
even
and
worse. I'm
well,
not angry
well,
at myself. I'm
eh,
just disappointed. I've let
yeah.
myself down. I've let my family down. I've let the Missing Links golf show down.
Well, it gives us some content to talk about, I guess. So, um, I don't know. I just, yeah, for me, it's more about going out there, and even if I don't have any expectation, I still want to have, my mental side in gear and actually thinking about my game and strategically still sticking to the sort of golf that I like to play, and that suits my game. And I didn't do that on 8 and 9. So that was probably the thing that, gave me a bit of a, kick up the bum and just went, you know what, Andrew, no, you need to get this sorted out, and start playing some golf again. So that while, yeah, the front nine was a bit, no expectation, no score in mind, the back nine was a bit different, and I did flip that, quite a bit.
Well, that is good to hear. So speaking of the back nine, talk me through it.
Okay,
So we're
so
on the 10.
10, I hit a bit of an ordinary drive into the fairway bunker. And the fairway bunker on the left-hand side, it's actually quite a deep fairway bunker, and you can only really get a 9-iron or a wedge out of that bunker back onto the fairway. So I hit a 9-iron out, and quite a good 9-iron out of the bunker. Fortunately, it was a little bit downwind, so I got a little bit of wind assistance, and I had that same club into the green, and I hit I didn't hit a bad shot. It was just sort of maybe a couple of grooves too low and just came out a little bit thin, but it was straight at the flag, and it actually, looked relatively good in the air. But it landed in like short in the fringe of the green, and just stopped. So
Mm.
I was slightly short. I could still putt it. I was maybe sort of 18 inches to 2 feet short of the actual putting surface, and just had an easy two putt. I hit it, I hit it probably maybe 3 or 4 feet past, and made the returning for a good solid par five to start. On 11, back into the wind, par four, hazard right, fairway bunker, probably 220 meters from the tee, sort of left of center. Took my four fairway out and just hit a big roping duck hook into the tree line. Fortunately, it did pop out into the left rough, and I had a 6-iron into the green, which I hit relatively poor, but still straight. It ended up maybe, I don't know, maybe about 10 meters short of the green, and pitch shot slightly over the corner of the bunker, probably around about sort of 25 to 30 meters. Hit a really good pitch shot to about 4 feet and made it.
Nice.
So then on 12, par three, I hit an 8-iron, hit a pretty poor 8-iron right of the green. And there's a bunker, a greenside bunker on the right, and I was just short of that, like about a foot short of that. But I had to go over the corner of the bunker to get to the flag, and it was then down onto a downslope, and I couldn't have stopped it short of the flag, and it would have rolled probably 40 feet past, I reckon, if I had gone at the flag. So I ended up just hitting a little pitch left of the bunker, pitched into the fringe. It rolled about 25 feet past. And I hit probably my best putt of the round, and didn't look like anything else but going into the middle of the cup. So I made a
Nice.
good solid par there. So then on 13, my nemesis hole,
Mm.
took a 4-iron off the tee and hit a pretty good 4-iron down the left hand side of the fairway. Again, I took an 8-iron for my second, and I hit another one of those little sort of thinny, sort of couple of grooves too low shots, which landed in the fringe of the green and just stopped. But the flag was on the front of the green as well. Only had probably maybe 15, 18 feet to the flag, and was just an easy two putt for a par. So it started off the back nine with four pars. So I was pretty happy
Pretty
with
solid.
that.
Pretty solid.
Given I also hadn't hit a green in those four holes.
Yeah. Yeah. Short game's going on. And to be fair, by the sound of things, you're not getting off the tee particularly well,
No,
putting
no.
yourself under a bit of pressure
Mm.
from your second shot onwards. So,
Yeah, yeah,
mm,
yeah. So look, the short game and putting was sort of there, and I felt relatively confident with short game and putting. But yeah, the ball striking definitely left a lot to be desired.
mm,
So we get on to the 14th tee. I absolutely striped a three utility down the middle of the fairway. Only had about 80 meters to the flag, so it's a short par four, loaded with fairway bunkers, sort of from about maybe 220 all the way down to the green. Hit a fairly poor wedge shot, which missed the green right, and I was sort of in this sort of thick rough. Still, a relatively easy pitch, or should have been an up and down, but I pitched it about maybe 8 feet past, and missed the returning putt. So
mm.
that was my first bogey on the back nine. Then on 15, this my one of my shot holes on the back nine, hit a three utility down the left hand side of the fairway, was in a little bit of thick rough, hit another three utility down the middle of the fairway. I had an 8-iron into the green, and hit a really poor 8-iron right of the green. And I had a pitch of maybe about 30 meters, which I felt as though I hit a really, really good solid pitch. but the flag was sort of on this slope, and as it got to the flag, it just peeled off left and ended up about 25 feet left of the flag. It was I sort of looked at it and went, wow, I can't believe it actually peeled off that much. I thought I might have been, maybe 7 or 8 feet with, left of the flag, left of the pin with a good solid easy uphill putt, but ended up about 25 feet from the flag, and I missed that and tapped in for a bogey. So that was my a little bit disappointing, two bogeys in a row.
But that is a bogey
Six
for
or
2
two.
points. Yeah.
Correct.
So that's not too bad. So at this point, what, through 6 holes on the second nine, you're on 11 points,
Yep.
which is pretty solid. So 1 point
Yep.
off pace.
Yeah. And two over par through six.
But that's pretty solid golf after
12 over. Yeah.
nearly racking up a half century on the front nine.
Exactly. Exactly. So on 16, pulled my tee shot a little bit. It was just in the left rough. Had a fairly easy wedge into the green, which I hit to about maybe 25 feet, an easy two putt for par. So, there was some solid golf in there. 17 is the par three over water, which the green certainly back and all the way around sort of the front. There's this, so there's a bunker left and then sort of a fairly narrow-ish walking sort of access to the green. But I was only about it was 87 meters to the flag. And with this par three, you've actually, because of the slope, it slopes pretty heavily from back left to front right. And you've got to land the ball past the flag, and especially if it's into the wind, and it usually sort of jags back. In fact, my playing partner almost holed out from his landing spot and sucked back and was maybe about 3 inches short of going into the water. So it's come all the way back almost into the hazard.
Because I'm pretty sure I remember seeing someone a previous time of playing Kooindah actually hit the green and suck back into the water.
Yes. And I have done that as well on a few times.
I've been you.
So anyway, I hit just my 54 degree. I landed it just past pin high, and it did jag back past the flag and ended up just on the front fringe or front right fringe.
Nervous moments.
Yeah, were a couple of nervous moments, but I was relatively confident it wasn't going to go into the hazard, but obviously you don't know.
You just don't know on that
You don't
level.
know it's not going to go into the hazard until it doesn't go into the hazard. But I only had about maybe 15 feet, fairly easy right to left putt. Didn't hit a great putt, just pushed it, and it just never took the break and tapped in for a par. So there
Not
I
bad.
was standing on 18,
2 over.
18th tee, two over. I needed 5 over or better
To
to
break 90.
break 90.
Yep.
So I stood on the 18th tee, and I normally hit either a
You get a shot on 18 as well.
Yeah, get a shot on 18.
So if you
Usually
make
hit
par on 18, you'll get 18 points for the back nine.
Yeah, yep. Normally hit either my 3 utility or 4 fairway, and normally just hit it at the. So there's 2 fairway bunkers. One is pretty much so the whole sort of curves around so the hazard all the way up the left hand side, and the fairway curves around the hazard. So if you're hitting at the fairway bunker on the right hand side, you're pretty much hitting up the left rough of the fairway. If you're hitting at the left hand side fairway bunker, you've pretty much got to take on the water. So what I normally do, I normally just hit it in at the middle of the right hand fairway bunker, and just draw it off. And depending on where the tees are, I'll hit my 3 utility or my 4 fairway.
Is this stroke 1 for the course?
It is stroke 1, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
would have
is.
thought so. Yeah, it's a tough
Yeah.
hole.
So me always sticking to my game plan, decided to take driver off the tee.
Here we go.
And aimed it at the left fairway bunker and hit a roping draw into the hazard.
Wow.
And as soon as I hit it, I may have said some
Wow.
things that aren't repeatable on this podcast as we're
You
trying
said, wow, Andrew, that's wonderful decision making and great execuation to follow it up with.
to. Yes, yes. So, something like that is what I
Mm,
said.
mm,
Um, so I wandered down, because the hazard's all the way down the left hand side, I could only take a drop maybe about 100 meters off the tee.
mm,
So no chance of getting to the green. Took a drop, hit my four fairway, and there is actually a cross hazard. So I had a choice of either, maybe hitting a 7 iron just down the fairway, but it was about 200 meters to carry the cross hazard, and I was pretty confident that I could do that as good as what I was hitting the ball on the day. So, so I pulled out my full fairway and actually hit a really, really good shot. Hit it really solidly, like exactly as I wanted to, which then sort of carried the hazard of the fairway on the side. Hit what I thought was a reasonably good pitch, but it just caught the front fringe. The pin was at the front of the green and just stopped dead. And I had about an 18 feet foot putt for bogey, which I missed, but then just tapped it in for an easy double bogey, 6-1 to finish.
mm. Look, disappointing always to finish on
Mm.
a double. However, 16 points on the second nine.
Yep.
And what did you
I
finish?
broke
Four
90.
over. Four over, shot of 40, so 88.
88.
Mm,
Mm.
snowman.
Yep. Yep.
Mm,
So look, all in all, I I wasn't I wasn't angry walking off the golf course. I mean, it was obviously it wasn't ideal, but looking back, I go, all right, 8, 9, and 18, I deviated away from my game plan,
mm,
which probably cost me 6 or 7 shots.
mm.
Which then, you add those sort of 6 or 7 shots back with some decent decision making, and getting back to the mental framework that I usually approach golf with, and my competition rounds with, and I'm down around sort of that 80, low 80s, which I don't think is a bad round of golf. When I'm coming back after a 3 or 4 month layoff. I mean, look, I only hit 4 greens in regulation. I only hit one green, sorry, one fairway in regulation, which was pretty disappointing. So off the tee was just awful. Uh, although talking about greens in regulation, I hit 3 greens in regulation on the front nine and one on the back, which yeah. Although there were a number of holes.
Not
So
going to get it
if
done.
yeah, if you take, say, the 10th, you take the 13th, and you take the 17th, they were all just on the fringe, and I was able to putt from the fringe. So, yeah, technically it was one green in regulation, but in reality it was probably a couple more than that. So look, it was not a great round of golf, but at the end of the day, I got back out there again. My wrist was a little bit sore at the end, which yeah, concerned me a little bit. It was actually the bunker shot, the fairway bunker shot on 10 that I just thinned a little bit. That started to just sort of jarred my wrist a little bit, and it started to get a little bit sore from there, and sort of got a little bit worse throughout the round. But certainly nothing like what I experienced, certainly not in April, where I had to pull out, and then it was better than what it was at the New South Wales Senior Amateur. So I've put in place a couple of just a little, a couple of exercises. I've got myself one of the hand grips to try and do some strengthening exercises with my wrist. I've got one of the sort of squeezy balls that I've constantly got in my right hand when I'm not using my mouse at my desk. And I've got some, and I don't know if they sell it elsewhere, but certainly in Australia, there's a cream called Physio Cream, which is FISIO, CREM, Physio Cream, which, yeah, is pretty good. It's got a lot of quite good natural ingredients in it, sort of like a Denka rub, but more sort of natural ingredients, sort of, arnica and hypericum and those natural ingredients, which
All the
have
favorites.
they're certain. Well, my folks owned a health food store for
Mm.
23 years, so I was well aware of the properties of arnica and hypericum, and what they do. So for me, that natural sort of remedy sort of works quite well.
Mm.
So that's
Hopefully it
me.
works. Hopefully it works, Andy Walker.
Hmm.
Yeah, we need at some point we need to have a conversation about your driver.
Yeah, yeah, and look, I've struggled with my driver for a long time now. I thought that the Titleist fitting
Mm.
was the answer, and it was for a little while, but I don't know if that was because I was practicing a lot and my swing just ended up sort of, getting into the slot, and it sort of, coincidence worked at the same time, or yeah, whether something sort of happened in the meantime. Certainly from a practice perspective, the first 3 or 4 months of 2024, when I did put a lot of work in and I practiced a lot, which sort of then culminated in some good golf, I haven't been able to put the same amount of work into my game since then. And obviously my golf has suffered as a result. So I think I know what I'm doing. I know where I want my swing to be and where I want it to get to. I just need some consistency in my practice routine, and just then it's just time, and I think from there it'll start working itself out. But it just comes back to the old, my old sort of habits of casting from the top, and when I was practicing a lot. Sort of 30 odd years ago, I was able to sort of hold my left hand through impact and hit a nice little cutty fade.
Mm.
Whereas now I'm releasing in that same movement, and there's just this big roping snap hook. So for me, it's getting given that I'm trying to hit a draw, and as I get older, a draw is going to be helpful with maintaining length. I really need to, the transition and the start of the downswing is where I need to get it back into the slot, and my hands actually moving away from the target as the first move, rather than sort of, that across the top move as my first move, which is where that roping hook comes from, and I know what it is. I just need the time and the consistency to practice it out of my game.
Yeah, but look, ultimately, you got to get to a point where your driver, if not a weapon, is reliable.
Yeah,
But yeah, so
yeah, and
whatever is required to get to that point.
and it has been there at different points. I think around the country championships last year in November, it sort of got to about that point again. Um, like for instance, the when I had that 2 under at Kooindah in April last year, and then at the Camden Seniors in May. I mean, I was striping my driver at that stage. That was probably my strength and my best weapon in my game. And there's been times, sort of historically, where off the tee has always been a strength. It's always been, I've been either on the fairway or maybe just off, and I've been able to get it around the green somewhere, either on or around the green. And that's always been my strength, is that consistency of ball striking where I didn't really get myself into a lot of trouble. Whereas now it's a bit of a different proposition. So I just need to get my swing into a position where I'm able to get that consistency back. So I know what
Yeah,
I've got to do. I've just got to get out there and put in the
and do
reps
it.
and
Yeah,
get have the consistency of practice to
yeah,
practice the certain positions that I need my to get my swing into.
yeah. No, that's all fair. Because I mean, look, there's a very big difference between stepping up to the tee with a driver when you are pretty confident that you know where it's going to go,
Yeah.
and the freedom that that gives you to swing at the ball versus when
Mm.
you stand on the tee box with a driver in your hand going, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I
So
mean, I know where it's going.
it's not where you want it to go, though. That's the thing, and
It,
that's it's
it
not a
it
search
doesn't
for
go right very
consistency.
often.
Yeah, it's not a search for consistency. You're
No.
consistently snap hooking it.
Mm.
But anyway, that is okay. All right. Well, there's a
No.
lot there, but that's
Yeah.
that's. I mean, look, you've gone 7 points, 16 points. You've gone 48-40. It's a good comeback. You've stuck in it. You've hung in there. You would have been feeling a lot worse about life if it was the other way around.
Yeah. Correct. Correct.
So,
Yeah.
so not a bad effort. All right. So, shall we move on to my round from,
Yeah.
well, actually, as we sit here yesterday? It's fresh,
Yes. Yes.
fresh.
It was a
So,
monthly medal, was it?
it was monthly medal. Yeah,
So
it was.
stroke round. Ooh.
Stroke event, off the tips, nasty pins, fast
Ooh.
greens,
Yeah. Tough. I'm glad I
all of
didn't
the
start
above.
there.
Yeah. So coming from not having played a lot of golf, in fact, not actually playing any proper golf for
Mm.
the Ambrose since the amateur championship. So when were they? That was the very beginning of June. So it's over a month really in between actual rounds of golf. So again, likewise, a little bit similar. I decided to approach it with expectations being managed. Not thinking about a score, not thinking about trying to post a number, just wanting to get out there and have some good swings
Mm.
and understanding that there were going to be mistakes, there was going to be some things
Yep.
that would go badly, and really just wanting to make sure that I stayed in it for every shot and kept the mental game as strong as possible was
Mm.
probably the hope more than anything else. So
Yeah.
anyway, we teed off the first of the par five, out of bounds all the way up the right, the entire golf course to the left. Mind you don't necessarily want to use the entire golf course up the first hole.
No, no, you
So
don't.
so it's a good par five. It's not a bad starting hole. I think there are some people that avoid it, generally the right-handers that slice it, because that brings the houses pretty substantially into
Mm.
play up the
Mm.
right hand side. So we got up there on the tee, and then turned out that I had quite a crowd of people that
Oh,
wanted to
okay.
come and have a look because
Okay.
haven't played at Dubbo for a couple of months. So
Mm.
Kingsley's back. Let's go and see what's going on.
Nice. Nice. I like it.
So yeah, so good old Jake came out from the pro shop and
Yeah.
stood on the balcony there to watch the opening tee shot, which I stood up and just absolutely striped one up the center of the fairway,
Nice.
Walker, which was
Nice.
a nice way to start.
Always good in front of a crowd.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so no, that was good. It was good. It was good to get one on, to get one out of the middle of the club and up the center. So went up. I was about 225 out meters. That is. So I thought, well, I'm probably not going to quite get there. I might crawl onto the front edge if I rip a good 5-wood. So anyway, I pulled my 5-wood right, which went towards the right trees, short of the green. Clanged around in a few trees, didn't see it drop. And bear in mind, there's out of bounds right.
Yeah. Yep.
And I got up there and it was right of the trees and it was sitting on the cart path just inside
Oh.
the boundary.
Yep.
Not really in a position where I could take a drop, not in
Yeah,
a
'cause
position where I could go at the green.
Yeah.
Because in fact, it was on the right side of the cart path. So the actual drop would have to have been closer to the out
Yep.
of bounds pegs.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you wouldn't have had a swing.
And I would have had nothing, yeah. And interesting, that's a rule a lot of people don't care to really embrace. That you notice. Oh, I get relief off the cut where I want rather than nearest point.
Yeah.
So I played it off the cart path actually because dropping was just not really an option.
Yep.
But just bunted out sideways. And then had a little pitch on, which got a bit zesty and went a bit past the pin by about 25 feet. So I rolled one down, nearly went in, didn't go in, but nearly went in. So
it's quick down the hill there on the first as well, doesn't it?
And those greens, they had a sheen on them. We were playing in the afternoon tee time. We were about 12:30 in the afternoon, and they were lightning. There was a lot of conversation after the round in the clubhouse from a lot of people that were talking about how quick the greens were. But in fairness, they were quick, but they were immaculate. Like they massive kudos to the grounds team there at Dubbo GC. They've really got those.
Were they Oakmont quick?
They're not Oakmont slopey. There's that. I mean, I don't know. They would have been. I reckon they would have been a comfortable, probably a 12.
Yeah, right.
Something like that.
Yep.
Yeah. No, they were good, but they were good. They were fair and they were true.
Yeah.
So anyway, tapped in for a bogey, which is a bit of a shame because, to be honest, the first is a potential birdie hole. So to bogey it is, I always feel like you've genuinely lost a shot on the field. But then Andy Walker, you kind of got on the par train
Mm.
as
Okay.
opposed to the bogey train. So
Yep.
I parred 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 on the bounce,
Nice. Yep.
which was good
All
to put.
all reg, great greens and reg.
No, in fact. So just going through that on 2, which is a slight dogleg right par 4.
Yep.
I hit a good drive, but I just overdrew it ever so slightly.
Mm. So hooked
There
it.
is no, it wasn't a hook, it was just a slight overdraw. And it so it kind of got in the tree line, but it was just on the edge of the tree line, but it got through the corner. So I
Yep.
got past. So I had a shot at about like just the edge of the left edge of the green. So I couldn't really go at the green. So I
Mm.
played a safe line just outside the left edge of the green because the pin was on the right. So I thought, well, if I can hook a 9 iron or back around onto the green, great. Or if it stays straight, then I'm chipping up the hill with all the green to play with. It's not the end of the world.
Yep.
And that's what happened. It missed left, just sort of kind of, sitting there in the rough, and I chipped on. Actually, nearly made the chip. It finished about 2 inches from the hole, so I was tapping par, which
Nice.
was nice. 3 was hit a good drive up the right side. I think it was a 7 iron at the green, which I just missed left into the greenside bunker, which was a little bit of a gnarly lie too. Ball above the feet in the greenside bunker with a nice big lip above, really easy to
Yep.
catch it fat.
Yeah. Yeah.
But hit a good bunker shot. It just rolled out a little bit to about 9, 10 feet, but made the putt, which was good.
Nice. Mm.
4 is a long dogleg par 4 around to the right. Does play very long. I hit a decent drive, but I was still a 4 hybrid out, which I caught a bit toey, so it came up short. Short left actually, so I had to pitch over the left bunker, and the pin was tucked left. So obviously, I left myself with a reasonably long putt.
So short
Which
game
meant
was in good shape then.
short game at this point was going pretty well.
Mm.
Because I have made a few changes and really
Yep.
worked on getting my weight on the front side,
Yep.
with chipping and pitching. And it's actually made an enormous difference to
Mm.
consistent contact. Yeah.
Mm. Yep.
So anyway, pitched over the bunker. I left myself, I reckon I was about probably 18, 19 feet from the hole, and made it. Never looked like
Nice.
missing.
Mm.
Never looked like missing. So that was a good one. The 5th, shortish par 3, hit just the front edge of the green 2 putt. That was pretty regulation. 6, hit a good drive. Hit a wedge over the pin, probably about 20 feet past the pin, regulation 2 putt. 7 is the par 5 up the hill,
Yep.
which for me, not really reachable in 2. I've crept on the front edge once or twice, but everything's got to be going in your favor. And
Yeah.
playing off the tips is not likely.
Yep.
I overdrew the drive a little and hit a tree on the right-hand side, but it spat it back out to the edge of the fairway, so that was quite generous.
Nice. Mm.
Then hit my 5 wood a little left and was blocked out by there's 2 big eucalypts just left of that green. I was blocked out there, so I had to just bump and run a little 7 iron sort of towards the front edge of the green, and then pitch, like bump and run pitch. But that green, it's so heavily sloping back to front
Yep. Yep.
that it's so hard to get the ball up to the flag from that front edge of the green. So I did leave it about 10 foot short, missed the putt, tapped in. No big deal. We were 2 over after 7.
That's
So I
reasonable.
was okay. I was okay with that. The 8th is a tough par 3 down the hill. It was playing about, I think it was playing 185 from where we were. So long par 3 down the hill. Missed the green left, pitched on just a little too far, rolled to the fringe, the far fringe, and missed the putt coming back. So tapped in for bogey. So 3 over after 8.
So let's just stop there for a moment. So you were, it says here you're playing off handicap
Playing
of
off
10.
10 for the day, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So you were 3 over through 8, right? Now, if I counted correctly, you've hit 2 greens in reg. Yeah. So it
Yeah, that's
sounded
probably
like
right. Yeah.
on 5 and 6, yeah, par 3, par 4, two in a row. And then you've got up and down a few times and effectively made bogey on 3 holes.
Mm.
So you're playing fairly solidly from the like championship setup golf course.
I was very happy with it at this point.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm. Yeah,
So
I
going
was
well.
driving the ball well. Um, and what I'd have also been working on is just in terms of striking my irons more cleanly,
Yep.
has been just getting a little bit more weight onto the front side in setup with irons. It's just moved the low point forward a little bit.
Mm. Yep.
One thing I had noticed that it's done though as well is I am missing a bit more left than
Yeah.
I
Right.
was
Okay.
before. I don't know if
Yep.
it's related or if it's something else,
Mm.
but that's kind of crept in. So anyway, there's that. So then we get to the ninth tee. So nine, I like nine as a whole. I've got to say it's a good golf hole. It's one of my favorite ones on the golf course. It's a dog leg left, par four.
Mm.
Um, a really good drive
Yep.
gets you. You might be able to take on a little bit of the corner, but from the tips, it's not worth the risk because if you don't, then you're stuck in the trees and you're making bogey. So you want to be playing to the corner, and then you've got an approach which is usually sort of anywhere between 100 to 140 meters up the hill
Mm.
for your
And
second to
I must admit on the ninth, the times that I've played now, most of the time I've played it from the tips, but
a.
um, I don't see unless you're a really long hitter and can get it up, reasonably close to the green. I don't see too much point in taking the corner on,
You don't
given
need to. You don't
if
need to.
if you do sort of miss it slightly left, taking the corner on. I mean, you just don't have a shot in the
Yeah,
trees up the left.
yeah, yeah. I pretty much playing it in this situation. I pretty much just aim at the corner
Yeah,
to get it, tight as you can to the corner, but not taking the tree line on. Obviously, to the
yeah,
right hand side, you've got the Mitchell Highway out of bounds, but like to be
yeah.
honest, it's a long way
Like
right. You
that's
do
a
see
long way,
people,
right? Though.
yeah, I
Yeah,
know, but you do see people go out there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that I've never hit it at the corner. I've always gone right. There's a tree, and I know the tree. I can
Yeah,
visualize it.
there's three big eucalypts through the fairway,
Yeah, and
and you
I
aim at
always pick one of
the
them.
right hand one of
Yeah,
them, and that's the perfect line.
yeah, yeah. And because I draw the ball as a right hander, I don't want to be hitting it at the corner and drawing it because that's trouble every day of the week.
Yep.
So I'm always hitting it more probably center fairway line and hitting a draw to be up the left side of the fairway, which I've always
Yeah,
found to be a good position.
it's pretty safe. You're not going to go too far wrong there. It depends where the tee boxes are, because in other non-metal competitions, when the tee boxes are a bit forward, you can take that corner on.
Yeah, right.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. I don't
a
think I've
little
ever
bit,
played it
but
in
no,
those
you probably
conditions.
haven't.
Yeah.
Probably haven't. But when you're right up the back, as we were, yeah, you're not flying the corner,
Mm.
unless you're a very long hitter. You're not flying
Yep.
the corner. So I didn't fly the corner. I hit it to the corner. So I was left with about 130 up the hill meters, up the hill to the green, looking straight into the sun, which is fine because you should be looking at the ball when you're hitting it. But just in terms of seeing your ball flight, looking straight into the sun, so I was feeling pretty good about life. So sent a pin. There was not too much going on with the pin. So I hit my 8 iron, but as I was just saying, leaked a little bit left, just pushed a little bit left, as has been happening with
Yep.
some of these 8 irons, and I found the green side bunker about pin high, so that was fine. So that's bunker shot across the green, pretty heavy slope on this back to front again, so it
Yep.
was going to break a lot left to right,
Mm. Mm.
and quite a big shoulder on the bunker, so
Yep.
that it's gonna roll out quite a lot. So you really just want to get your bunker shot kind of more or less over the shoulder and just let let the green take it towards the pin.
Yep. Yep.
Um, so I've been pretty happy with my sand game of late as well, particularly with the new wedges from Jason Butt. Things have been going quite well from that perspective. So I was quite confident stepping in there. And then hit a bit of a fat one, which caught the lip and came back into the sand, which was
No.
really annoying.
Mm.
Um, got kind of mixed up in the footprints as well, which was not
Yeah.
overly helpful.
That's disappointing.
So I thought that's okay. Like that's going to happen from time to time. It's not a big deal. Um, so I thought, what better way to celebrate that than by doing it again?
Wow. Okay.
And at this point, the blood pressure increases and temperature starts to
Yeah.
rise.
Yeah.
And I anyway, tried my level best to rein that in and focus on the next shot, because you can obviously, famous quote from the day was, you can only hit a golf shot once, unless of course it's hitting it again out of the bunker that you hit your last one from.
So you've hit that golf shot three
And
times
I've hit
now.
that. Yeah, I hit that
Yeah.
golf shot 3 times. Fortunately, the third time it did get out,
Yeah.
rolled down, and I was probably about, I don't know, I was probably about 10 foot, but I was above the hole, so I was pretty defensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Missed the putt, tapped in for triple,
Wow. That's
which was
disappointing.
just so disappointing after
Yeah.
working super hard for 8 holes to
Mm.
then, turn a 3/9 into a 6/9.
Yep.
But not the end of the world at the same time. So, that's all right. Shake it off, move on. Got to 10, and 10's a bit of an interesting hole, because it's not all that long. It's a little bit of, it's a dog leg left par 4, but it's a decent drive, and then you're only hitting a wedge at the green, but you've got a heavily right to left sloping green that you
Yep.
really do not want to miss it right, because bunker shot from the right, or
Yeah.
pitching out of the
It's
rough from the
tough.
right, you won't hold the green, particularly the way that they were rolling. So, but at the same time, if you go at the center of the green, you're every chance of it running out down to the back left.
Yep.
So it's tricky. It's tricky. I hit a good drive up the left side of the fairway, and then I was I think a 52-degree wedge in, which I hit to the right side of the green. And then it was
It's
defensive
a
putting
tough
from
putt.
there.
Yeah.
It's defensive putting, and unfortunately 3-putt bogey,
Mm.
which was a shame. But it's one of those things. Like, I think I'd left myself, after my first putt, I'd left myself with about 4 feet for the par putt.
Yep.
But it was 4 feet straight across the break.
Yeah. That's tough.
and and it was funny, right? Because, I'd watch one of my playing partners have a putt a little bit longer than that, and it stayed low. It was low, and it stayed low, and it broke away from the hole, and it just keeps going as well, which is amazing. So I gave a bit of extra break, and I actually missed it on the high side, which
Yeah.
was
Right. Okay.
an interesting thing. Anyway, but that's okay. So it was 7 over. Go to the 11th. 11th is par 3. It was playing about, I was playing close to 160 meters actually on the day. And anyway, I hit a bad 6 iron, but it was just a little bit left, and it caught the front bunker, front left bunker. So again, I thought, shake off any memories of the last triple bunker experience.
Yep.
Visualize all the good bunker shots that I've played lately. Get back in a positive headspace. So again, similar situation, the very high lip, and a big shoulder running out towards the pin.
Yep.
And I hit what I thought was actually a pretty good bunker shot, and it just caught the top of the lip, would you
No.
believe? And it's rolled
No.
back down again into the
Oh,
mess that I've just made.
wow.
So I fatted the next one, stayed in again, and then hit my third one out. So again, I've gone 3 shots to get out of a
Far
bunker,
out.
2-putt triple.
Oh, wow. Gutted.
Yeah.
So what are you? 3, 6,
10,
and
10 over at this
and
point.
six of those
In two
in
holes, in
in
two
two
bunkers.
holes,
In
in
two
two
bunkers is
bunkers.
what, like, it's not even, it wasn't like the
Far out.
holes were badly played.
Yep.
It was just the bunkers were badly
Yep.
played.
Yep.
So I did that exact exercise to try and compartmentalize the feelings, because you start
Yep.
to have the feelings like you're having a bad round,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
things can
Yep.
escalate.
Yes. Yes.
But the reality of it was, I had 2 bad bunker experiences, but I had been having a really good
Mm.
round
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah. First 8 holes, as we spoke about earlier, were actually
Yeah,
really
we're
solid.
good. And even 10 was fine. I'd hit 2 good shots into the green,
Mm.
and made a 3-putt that, look, it wasn't an unexpected 3-putt from where it was on that
Yeah.
green. Like
Yeah.
that, there was plenty of people with 3-putt at that situation. And, from what we heard from people I hit a pretty good lag putt, and then just sort of overread the
Mm.
second one. So it's not like there was anything going wrong outside of those two experiences, but
Yep.
far out that messes with your head.
Yeah. 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 Yep.
So anyhow, we get to 12. Now 12 is the par five with the water all the way up the left.
Yep.
Um, it is, it can be a boom or bust kind of experience on
Yep.
12. So, and they'll, anyway, I did see one of my playing partners sadly racked up a bit of a number on this hole after finding the water
Mm.
off the tee.
Yes.
But
Easy to
anyhow,
do.
oh, it's so easy to do. Everything feeds in that direction as well. So anyhow, I took out the driver and aimed up the right side and just tried to bleed a fade back onto the fairway, which I did down to the center of the fairway, which was really good. And then stood there, and I was about 250 out from the green, so I was never going to reach the green. But the second lake really cuts into that fairway
Yep.
for your second shot. You've either got it if you're going to go at the green or even in the direction of the green, but short. You've really got to hit a good shot to clear that second lake to get yourself
Yep.
onto that sort of part of the fairway. Or the other option is that you play to the corner, like take say a mid iron and just play to the corner and leave yourself about 100 in to
Yep.
hit a wedge in at the green.
Mm.
So after just taking a three bunker shot triple on the hole before, Andy Walker, what do you think my decision making process looked like at this point?
Well, certainly, if you take my history into consideration, strategy didn't necessarily come into the fore after some time off. So, for the consistency of the show, let's go with the fact that you just gave it a rip.
Yeah, so I actually think in this whole round of golf that this decision making process is the one that I am the most proud of, and
Okay.
potentially was a turning point on the
Yep.
day.
Yep.
I got my laser out and I zapped the trees through the fairway on the more aggressive line of a 5 wood or something along those lines. And I nearly did it. And
Yep.
then I zapped the 100 marker through the fairway on the corner line, and it was 165 meters away.
Yep.
And that was a conservative line, not taking the water on. So I pulled 6 iron and I hit it at the 100 marker, and I
Nice.
nearly
I
hit the
like it.
bloody 100 marker as well.
Yeah. 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 Yep.
And then I left myself a wedge to the green, pin tucked left, and I just missed left, but it was puttable, sort of just up the hill onto the green, and I putted on, putted in, so I made par.
as
And
as as opposed to, and this is a really really good lesson, pilgrims.
is it?
uh Sometimes, the all out aggression, while that's very much the modern way of playing golf, if you come back to the way Tiger played golf, and that is hitting aggressively swinging to conservative
Conservative
targets.
targets.
And that, to me,
Yeah.
you look at sort of what I did last Thursday and that decision making and where that ended up.
And that was the
And
difference.
yeah,
That was the difference right
exactly.
there.
Exactly.
Because if I took 5 wood and I went at that line, I wasn't getting to the green anyway.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
still would have had a short wedge. So there's no guarantee that I would have got a better result.
Mm.
But I'll tell you what, I could have got a double or worse if I'd
Yep.
glared it left into the water, and then I would have been hitting 160, 170 meters at the green
Yep.
after dropping one.
Yep.
So definitely it was the right decision. It didn't
Well done.
feel as much fun. Like
No,
it
no,
didn't feel manly.
no. But
But
you
I
walked off the
was,
green with a par
yeah,
going, yep,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
good decision making and good golf.
yeah, yeah. And I was most happy about the fact that I knew that I'd made a good strategic decision and got a benefit out of it.
Yep.
For sure. So then we get to 13. 13's a long par four, out of bounds up the left, trees up the right, long hole, tough hole. So smoke to drive, probably my best drive of the day, straight up the left
Nice.
center of the fairway. And still, at long hole, still a 6 iron in, which nearly crept up to the green, but just sort of finished. There's an uphill. It's a raised
Yep.
green.
Yeah, I know
It hit
exactly what you mean.
it hit that
Yep.
bank and just stopped.
Yep.
So hit a little bump and run, finished about a foot short of the hole, knocked it in for par. And I can tell you that par on that hole felt like a par 4.5 of a
Mm.
hole. So it felt like about a
Yeah.
half a birdie.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Tough hole.
Yeah. But how good is it, like on a really tough par four where you need to get your drive away to
Oh,
have any chance at all
you
of
have, but you
making
have
par?
to.
How good is it just to stand
Yeah.
up there and strike one down the middle of the fairway?
Yeah.
That's
And
one of
on
the
that
best feelings
fairway,
in golf.
100%. On that fairway, also, your landing zone for a good drive, just short of that, the fairway is quite sharply uphill.
Mm. Yep.
So if you don't get a good one
Mm.
away, or if you play conservatively, say and take a driving iron, you're not going to
Yep.
get to the landing zone.
Mm.
It'll cost you 100 meters.
Yes. Yep.
So absolutely, absolutely. So that was good. That was really good. So then we moved to the 14th, which is historically been a bit of a nemesis hole because it's the one with the water up the right.
Yep.
That same lake that's the other side of the lake that's on 12. So the water up the right, but then there's heavy trees up the left hand side, and if you miss left, it's actually just as bad. So you've
Yep.
got to just step up and hit a good golf shot. Like you don't
Yep.
have a choice. There is no bailout. So I hit driver and again smoked a drive straight up the center.
Nice.
Really happy with that.
Mm.
Got up there. I was then. Did I have in? I think I ended up playing an 8 iron in. Like just trying to play a comfortable swing, not go hard at it. A la our conversations after Macquarie Cup.
Yep. Yep.
But same result, just left it a little bit left, greenside bunker. And it's a nasty greenside bunker, this one as well, because it's quite a long
Mm.
way below the green.
Yes. Yep.
You're down a good sort of
Because it all
10 feet
slopes off
below.
that left hand
Yeah,
side, doesn't it?
it's
That's a very
ugly.
steep slope down there.
It
Yeah.
is ugly, ugly. I actually cleared the bunker and sucked it back in to the bunker with my 8 iron,
Yeah. Right.
which was, yeah, great. It was so good, particularly because I was coming off such a high confidence level with my bunker play at
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going
And
to
this
say
was,
after 9 and 11.
yeah,
Yeah.
and this was
But
a nasty bunker shot as well, like
yep.
because you had to fly it quite a long way
Mm.
and get it quite high. So you got to be quite aggressive at the ball, but also knowing that there's another lake over the green. That if you
Yep.
thin it, you're gone.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So I hit a good bunker shot. Actually, I splashed it out quite nicely. Didn't make the putt, unfortunately. So it was a tap in for bogey, but that's still a pretty good result on that hole.
Mm.
So we moved to 15. 15's a par three up the hill, playing about close to 190 meters up the hill, actually. So
Yep.
it's quite a long way. So I hit four hybrid, just short, chipped on, and you know, you got a decision to make when you're chipping and pitching whether or not you're going to try and sort of spin one or whether you're going to try and roll one out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So I think I decided that I wanted to sort of roll it rather than fly it and spin it.
Yep. Yep.
Um, and took my backswing. And I think what I also did in my backswing is I don't think I took my backswing long enough. So I then really accelerated into the ball.
So it was a bit jerky.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
because you
so,
can do that with
yeah,
when you're trying to be aggressive and hit one of those little bump and runs, you can get a bit jerky trying to
yeah,
accelerate through the ball.
yeah. And so I over accelerated rather than the dreaded deceleration,
Yeah.
over accelerated through the ball. And I actually hit it past the pin and it rolled off the back of the green, which was
Oh, okay. Yep.
annoying.
Mm.
I did get up and down from there though, so I made
Okay.
bogey. But it was an interesting one because I was watching an episode from me and my golf guys talking about chipping and pitching, and they actually talked specifically about this over
Yep.
accelerating thing and how a lot of the
Yeah.
time with pitching you want to be a bit smoother, which is a bit
Mm.
different to the tour tempo, kind of thinking. But I think they end up in the same place. But the over accelerating in your downswing, if you haven't got your backswing long enough, can really throw all of your timing out and all of your sinking
See,
out of your swing. So
it's a good point because the way I've always gone about pitching and chipping is that if I'm pitching, I've found accelerating and more the tour tempo, 2-to-1 ratio is really good. However, when I've got, say, a 6, 7, 8 iron and I'm trying to hit a bump and run with a lot of green to work with, I find that my putting tempo is a lot better for those types of chips. And my putting tempo is more of a 1-to-1 rather than the 2-to-1. I did try and implement because they do in tour tempo, they do talk about being able to use your putter with that same tempo, and I don't think it works. Certainly not for me. I'm sure it would for some, but you hear Cam Smith talk about his putting, and he's very much a 1-to-1 tempo.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
and I find that when I've got the longer, pitch and run or chip and runs as well as my putting, the 1-to-1 tempo is, works much better than, say, a pitch with a wedge or, something similar that's, where the 2-to-1 tempo I find to be much better.
Mm. I've still got a bit of work to do in that space. I feel like I've made some real improvements in the pitching space just by weight distribution more than
Yes.
anything else.
Yeah.
But just a few of the nuances of some of the different types of shots still working on.
Yep.
But I also think that one, to be honest, I think I wasn't 100% convinced the shot I was trying to hit when I hit it. I think that was a mental error.
Yeah.
It
Right.
cost me one there.
Mm.
So we had a 16. 16 is another par five. It's rated the easiest hole on the
Easiest
course.
hole on the golf course, apparently.
It's rated the easiest hole on the golf course. That is the biggest furphy in the history of the world.
Yeah.
It isn't. But anyway, that's fine. So again, hit a great drive up the center. Then rolled a 5-wood up the fairway, which was pretty useful in the end. I left myself about 60 meters to pitch to the flag. So
Is that what you want in your 5-wood?
no, generally it's not. Like I was trying to get the 5-wood even up to the front edge, but it didn't get there. But to be honest, being about 60 meters out and being able to hit a reasonable, it's just a smooth swing sand wedge was better than trying to, hit something from 25 or 30 meters because the pin was tucked over a bunker. So it probably worked out for the best. And I hit a really nice 56-degree, which looked like it was going to be really close, but it was about 8 feet. And it was a bit of a swinger, so unfortunately missed the putt, but tapped in for par.
Was the pin in that back left corner,
No,
sort of
I was
tucked?
expecting it was going to be. It wasn't.
Yeah,
It was
because
tucked on the.
that's
It was
a tough
no.
pin position.
It was tucked just over that bunker on the right.
Yep.
So
yeah, so day one Macquarie Cup.
Yeah,
is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So anyway, it's a slightly easier pin placement. I think that one that's on the back left is just that's diabolical. That's
It
terrible. On the easiest hole on the course.
Yep.
So 17, long straight par 4, playing a little bit into the breeze. Hit a really good drive again up the center, and then had a 5-iron into the green, which just did. I caught a slightly toey, I think. Just got on the front edge, front right of the green. So the pin was on the high. It's a 2-tier green. The pin was on the high tier. I was on the low tier.
Yep.
Hit my putt. I reckon I would have taken my backswing past parallel. Had to hit it that hard, and I still left it about 12 feet short. And unfortunately, it was another 3-putt bogey. But again, it was one of those things where you look at it and go, if I could 2-putt this, like I'd be high-fiving on the way off.
Yep.
So I wasn't upset about that. And then coming up 18, par 3 up the hill, finishing hole. You know how much I love this hole.
Your favorite.
It's great.
So I actually don't think 14 is your nemesis hole. I reckon 18 is your
14's had
hole.
its day though, remember? But I've played 14 pretty well for the last year or so.
Yep.
18 still is a struggle. So tee shot found the front left bunker. And so this is a bunker shot then with the entire green just sloping away from you.
So you do a front left bunker.
Yeah, well, this is what I'm saying. Like this changed weight distribution's been creating a bit of a short left miss. I've been hitting it more cleanly, but it's been a different ball flight. It's bizarre. I need to figure out what's going on there.
Yeah.
So anyway, I actually hit a really nice bunker shot, which was good because then after having two triples in bunkers throughout the round, then playing this bunker shot in front of everyone that's having a beer outside on
Yeah,
18th green,
yeah. Pressure.
was actually quite good.
Mm.
But again, another tough putt, two putted, so I finished with a bogey. So I finished with off the stick with an 85. 42, 43 being the two nines.
What's that?
It trans
14 over?
Yeah,
It's
it actually
past 71, yeah.
past 71, yeah. It actually translated in 33 points from a Stableford perspective
Yep.
because the two triples they wind
Mm.
back to doubles.
Yeah. Yep.
So it was take those two holes out, and I was really happy with that round of golf.
I was going to say, so 14 over with two triples,
Yeah,
like that's not bad. Like that's a good round of golf from the back markers with pins
it
in
was solid.
championship conditions.
It was solid. And the other thing with it is if you look at the strokes gained analysis, so my putting was positive 0.16, which I was very
Nice.
happy about because my putting woes of late have been well documented. Short game was really
This is versus scratch handicapper, yeah.
this is scratch, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, against scratch. Short game was minus 6.28, and now let's put that in context because I've burnt 6 shots in two bunkers.
Yeah.
So that equates for a lot of that. Approach was minus 5.26, which is probably fair because I didn't hit a lot of greens.
Yep.
Similar to your tail. And tee shot, so driving was plus 1.11.
Wow. Okay. So you're like striping off the tee.
And the guys I was playing with did mention at one point, actually on 17, which was the last driver hole, when I hit that one, and there were comments going, "This is the best I've ever seen you hit driver."
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Like, it's not the longest I've ever hit driver. I wasn't actually pumping it out there as much as because I don't know. I don't know if that's winter or
could be a little
case
bit of the
may be.
cold.
But I was definitely hitting the ball exactly where I wanted to hit the ball off the tee.
Yeah.
There was, and it was one of those things to the point we made before. Confidence level is sky high. Like I'm standing up there going, I know where this is going. Not I hope this is going that direction.
And
So
when you're putting it in play off the tee, it just makes the game so much easier.
So much easier. You're not chasing it.
No, you're not.
I mean, you can still muck it up from there.
Yeah, for sure. But at least you're behind the game after your first shot all the time, which is sort of where I find myself to be. I'm always behind on the hole. I'm always trying to grind and scrap to be able to make a par or better, also sometimes worse. But getting off the tee is incredibly important.
100%. So look, it's one of those things that I feel there's a lot of good stuff going on.
I feel as though your decision making is quite good. I mean, certainly after the 9th and then the 11th, to still be able to have the discipline and the mental control to be able to stick to your game plan rather than going, you know what, I'm just going to give it a rip and see what happens.
Oh yeah.
I think that's something to give
very
yourself credit for. Yeah,
and there's no way that would have happened a year ago. Not a chance.
Yeah. So you need to give yourself credit, I think, for those improvements and those steps forward. And I think there's just a couple of things that, whether it be sort of short game or, trying just getting rid of that short left approach, that you just need to work on. And I think you'll be back down 8 or lower in no time at all.
I certainly hope so. I've got a low round dropping out next, so I could bounce up a little bit. I'd gotten out, Pilgrims probably don't know, I'd gotten out to 9.6 after the New South Wales mid-am because I had a few good rounds drop out. This became a flagged round, so it took me back to 9.5, but I've got a low round, I think a 7 or something like that dropping out next.
Yeah, I think we
So,
did talk about that though a couple of
but then after
episodes
that,
ago.
there's
That
there's a big
yeah,
gap. So
yeah,
I'm okay. Like if that drops out and I blow up by a half a shot, then whatever. Um, it'll come down. But I think feel like I've answered a couple of questions short game wise. I need to just continue to work on a few things and groove
mm,
those in and and just build that skill set.
yep,
I need to probably do a bit of work on my irons. They're not where they need to be. I'd felt like I was making progress by just doing, this weight distribution change, but that's introduced another issue that I need to work through. And,
yep,
you know, whether that's because I'm not fully rotating through as a result of that, I feel like that might be part of it because I've really then tried to make myself do that on a couple of shots and hit them straight.
mm, mm,
I don't know. I don't know. There's work to be done. But all in
yeah,
all, ball striking long game is just the best it's ever been at the
yeah,
moment. If I can
yeah,
tidy up a few other things closer to the green, then that can make a
mm,
huge difference.
yeah. Yeah. Well, look, I think there's a lot of positives to be taken out of it, but there's also then, as there always is, just a couple of things just to keep on working on,
Mm.
to be able to keep that momentum going. And yeah, I don't think, as we've talked about a number of times, certainly from where you were 12 months ago to where you are now, I think is a much better position. And you're not far away from breaking through that glass ceiling to the next level.
Yeah, hopefully.
Mm. Yeah. Me, however,
You just need to be able to get out on the
might,
course, mate.
might meet you in the middle there somewhere.
We've been threatening for a while now. Anyway,
Mm.
so that's the update. So Pilgrims, it was good. It was good for us both to get out there and have a round of golf.
Mm.
Some good things, some not so good things, but that's golf. That's the way it
Yep.
goes for all of us every week.
Yep.
And yeah, I think we posed the question earlier: how much golf is too much golf? I
Mm.
feel like you answered that question on the front nine, and
Yep.
I answered that in the bunkers of 9 and 11. That was definitely too much golf.
Yes, definitely a bit too much golf. But look, I think, and look, I certainly think with my game as well, I think there are some positives that I can take from it.
Mm,
I certainly felt like once I got my mental game into gear, that the game was still there.
yeah,
And I just need to, yeah, I need to learn from those silly errors that I made that I don't usually make. I usually find that playing conservatively is my best approach, and I just need to get back to doing that and spend a bit of time in the high performance there, and I can't see my game taking too long to get back into shape.
yeah, I have no doubt. If you can stay fit, it'll be good. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I'm
it's one of those
working on that
things.
too. So both getting back into some gym work,
Mm,
just to get out of the sort of mid to high 90s. I've made a commitment to not crack the ton. Definitely not going to raise the bat. So
yeah,
I'd love to get back with a 8 in front of it, and hopefully by around Christmas we'll get into the mid 80s. But again, with my wrist, the squeezy ball, the
mm.
hand grips, and the physio cream, I think I think that'll sort out my wrist as well.
I guess the good news is at least even though you shot an 88, you broke your age. No, you broke your weight.
Wow, imagine that. Imagine if I didn't break my weight at the moment. Oh, yeah, no. Let's not talk about
Uh,
that.
anyway, that's another target. Don't worry about
Yeah,
breaking your age. Can you break your weight in
yeah,
kilos? Good luck, Pilgrims. I'll let you work on that one over the week.
excellent, excellent, love it.
All right, Andy Walker. It's been a marathon, but it's been good because we've talked about actual golf. So
Yes.
well done to us. And yeah, next episode, bit of a different bit of a different take, perhaps.
Hmm.
Yeah. So we won't say too much more about that,
No.
but yeah, bit of exciting content coming your way.
Yeah. No, looking forward to it. Should be great.
Yeah. Very good. And otherwise, what are your thoughts, Andy Walker? Any advice?
Just one thing to do. Rock out, pilgrims.